Hey guys, Tex here. Welcome back. It has been a minute. Today's Monday, April 17, 2023. I just wanted to go over trade recap for today. I took two trades today. The first one was right out of the gate this morning, and I got a nice little win on that. It was about a 4R trade. Actually, it was 4R planned. I actually ended up realizing about 3.5R on the trade, but nevertheless, still a good risk to reward trade. Took smaller size on it just because I didn't fully trust it. I didn't have a lot of super high confidence in the trade, and I'm going to explain why that is. So what was I looking at this morning? Let's go to the S&P. I'm going to blow up the chart here. This is our hourly chart, and you can see that here's today's open. What is key about this is a couple of things. First of all, we opened over the prior week's high. Okay, so that's key, right? We opened over the 60-minute 9. Okay, so anytime I see that 60-minute 9, especially being very key for me when I'm looking at, trend, and you can see that obviously we've been trending up here on the 60-minute chart. We're opening right basically in continuation of the trend. So what's very important about anytime you're trading setups is to pay attention to all the time frames, right? Not just one time frame. Now, 60-minute is one of the most important time frames for me, but it's not everything. I want to know what else is going on in my other time frames. So I see, okay, we're opening right over the 60-minute 9. We're opening over the prior week's high there. I think that, this looks good for continuation of the trend. What does it look like on the 30, right? So I go down to the 30. Here's today's open. Oh, look at this. We're also opening over the 30-minute 9, and we're opening over the 30-minute 20. This is, by the way, the 9 EMA and the 20 SMA there. Let's go to the 15, and here's today's open. Here's today's open right here on the 15. Ooh, look at that. We're opening right over the 15-minute 9, and we get this dip right into that 15-minute 9. Just beautiful there. And then lastly, I go to the 5-minute chart, and I take a look at this for today right here. Ooh, look at that. And here it is. We're opening over the 5-minute 9, just a continuation of the trend. So that's 4 significant time frames. We're opening over the 9 EMA. We're opening over a key weekly level of potential support. I'm looking at getting long the second that I see that right out of the gate. I ended up taking it on the futures, on the S&P E-mini futures contracts, just because I didn't expect a really big move out of it. And what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to trade the futures more unless I'm expecting, like a breakout move, right? I'm expecting considerable range expansion. Then I definitely want to be positioning myself into options, because that's when options are going to pay you very nicely. But when you are essentially in a consolidation range, as we are here, I'm just simply trading the consolidation range. I'd rather be in futures just because it's easier to manage your risk, in my opinion. And I think that it's easier to capture the true dollar move versus with options. So let's blow up the S&P E-mini futures chart and show you why what I was talking about. So when we opened today, today's open was this candle right here. It was right here. This is today's open. All right. Now, if you'll notice overhead, I have a level marked out here around 41.68, and you can see how key that level has been here, consolidating over it all night and then falling below it as we come into the market open. You can see consolidation holding it over it back here too. So that's 2 essentially overnight sessions where it played a very key level of support. And here we are opening underneath of it as potential resistance overhead. So it is important not only to look at multiple timeframes, but to look at the different instruments, right? If you're trading the futures, you don't want to ignore the S&P cash index. It's still very important to pay attention to what the S&P cash index is showing you, because there may be differences between the two. And if you can get them when they're both lined up, that's an even better trade, right? So unfortunately, they weren't both lined up. The S&P looked great, right? We were opening over all those moving averages, as I discussed, over that weekly prior candle high. Really liked that. However, I did not like how ES was opening underneath of this consolidation area here, this consolidation level around 41.68. And then when we look at NQ as well, NQ, here's today's market open on NQ. Again, a similar situation. We'll blow up this chart. you can see this important level right here, just shy of 13.2, which is a significant level of resistance, right? We tried to hold over it back here, we failed, and now this supply here is proving to be resistance, 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 resistance. Tried to hold again, tried to break out, failed, tried to hold, failed, right? So it's a key level, and we're underneath of that right out of the gate. Okay, so I'm looking at this like, well, let's go to the ES chart, and I'm going to go to the 5 minute. So here is today's open right here. Okay, so I'm looking at where we're opening on SPX. We're over the key moving averages. We're over that weekly prior candle high. I like it for a long when I'm looking at the S&P cash index. But when I come over here and look at the futures, this overhead supply has me concerned. But I realized that, hey, there's a really high probability that we're at least going to bounce up into that supply and test it before we just fall apart, if we fall apart, right? So I like this. It's worth it's worth the risk here because it's so tight. We open essentially right here and we dip right into those moving averages on SPX. I'm able to grab some. I think I get filled around 41.60.5, and I'm risking about 41.58.75, right? So I'm talking about risking like $1.50 maybe for the chance to make $7 or $8. So the risk to reward is on par. I'm planning roughly, I think, around 4R on the trade, and I end up realizing about 3.5R because I sell just shy of 68. So we do hold here. We get the nice move up into the 68 level there, and I'm selling $1 shy of that within trigger range of my target. Everything executed perfectly, and I'm all out at that point, right? I'm just looking for a quick morning scalp. I get it. I get almost a 4-hour trade on it, and now I'm sitting on my hands and patiently watching this price action as we consolidate underneath of supply, right? So definitely concerning for the bulls that we're unable to reclaim that supply. We ultimately fail. The sellers kind of take control a little bit here. We get a dump down into a new low, nice consolidation, and then another dump lower. So as we come into the afternoon session, here's where my second trade goes off here. You can see that we fall just short of hitting my next level of support. And one key concept to understand when you're looking at levels of support and resistance is that if you see price, let's talk about when price is falling toward a support level. If you see price falling toward a support level and it falls short of it, there's a good chance that it's still going to come down and hit that level. Now, the time of day is very important to consider when you're thinking about whether it's going to come down and hit that level or not. But obviously there's no guarantees, right? If you see that price falls short of this level and it rallies up like it's doing now, let's say that it never comes back down and hits it here, it just rallies all the way back up. That's a clue, right? That is a clue as to, in this case, how bullish the price action is, right? The buyers were so eager to buy it that they didn't even let it get to the level. They bought it up before the level. So that's something to consider. But a lot of times you'll see that when it falls short, especially when it just kind of consolidates and it kind of creates this, it kind of creates this bear flag. You can see the flag here. It's most likely going to come down and find that level. Okay, and that's exactly what it did, right? Now, when we look at this, where does it actually come into this level? Well, look at the time of day here. This is 1 o'clock my time, so Central Time. So this is at 2 o'clock Eastern. It literally comes down and the opening hour, 1 o'clock Central candle opens, dips right into the level and closes over it. Your risk doesn't get any better than that. This candle opens, I'm long on this micro dip right into the level, and I'm risking just underneath of it. I'm talking, $1 of risk here, really just nothing in risk for ES. Now the reward potential, of course, is all the way back up here to 68. So you're talking 20 points of potential reward for $1, $1.50 if you want to account for some slippage right off of the level there. Just absolutely beautiful. And then the icing on the cake is that it's literally at the open of an hour. So I'm not only positioning myself into a trade that has the potential to give me a huge reward in terms of price, but also in terms of time, right? I have an entire hour for this trade to play out. And what happens, right? You can see this hour is the breakdown. Here, this hour we hold. This hour, again, we hold. We cannot get an hour to close at a new low. That is all telling me something. That's all clues telling me something here. This hour opens, it dips right into the level, and then off to the races. You get an entire hour of buying in your favor, obviously catching the long there. So that's it. I mean, the way that I managed that trade, as we came up here to the top of this consolidation right here on this 5-minute candle, I sold half of my position just in case we did fail there, and the rest I held all the way up to 68. I'm now totally out of the trade. I captured 20 points with half my position, and I caught the first move, which is a good place to lock in profits just in case it did fail and come down. But obviously you can see the next candle open and just ripped. So guys, it's I think the theme of today's video is to pay attention to the different instruments. Don't just get kind of tunnel vision in on one thing. I know a lot of you are probably trading like SPY, right? SPY is a great instrument to trade, especially if you're talking about options, because the contracts are a lot more affordable. So if you're not ready to take on the risk of trading SPX contracts. Another thing, of course, you could trade is the S&P E-mini futures, or you could trade the micro futures. Those are all great options for you to trade. But whatever you are trading, don't just kind of get tunnel visioned in on that one particular instrument. It's important to pay attention to the actual cash index. If you're trading NQ, it's a good idea to look at the actual index. If you're trading ES, again, great idea to pay attention to the S&P cash index, SPX. I'll even look at SPY, because sometimes there will be some differences between SPY, SPX, and ES. Okay, so it's important to look at them all. And then the other thing is don't neglect your time frames, right? Pay attention to all of your time frames, zoom out, look at the bigger time frames in particular. Stop trading the 1-minute chart. I don't trade anything under a 5-minute chart. It's not that you can't do it. I just personally don't find value in it anymore. Totally up to you, but whatever the lowest time frame is that you're trading, don't forget to zoom out and look at your longer time frames, because something that looks like just death on a 1-minute chart is just simply a pullback on your larger time frame into some other level of support. So we don't want to neglect that at all. All right, guys, so I'm going to wrap it up there. Hope you found the video helpful. I'm sorry I'm not really able to upload videos very often for you guys, but just focusing on myself and my own trading, and happy to share some with you when I can. So thanks a lot, guys. Take care, and we'll see you in the next one.